Yeah, it looks like we got quorum, so we can do roll call and then. Carl, it looks like we have quorum, so we could do roll call and then do our 10-minute recess.
Okay, perfect. All right. Good afternoon and welcome to the fourth meeting.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Hey, we're not hearing you on our side. Give me a second. All right, let's try now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, ready to go? Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the fourth meeting of the CCSRC Commission. Council staff, would you please proceed with the roll call? Here.
Here. Here.
Tia Hamilton,
Here.
Kevin Jackson, Richard Westmoreland, Galathea Bayham, Bobby Hill,
Here.
Kimberly Jones Williams, that's 5 members.
Yep. 5 out of 9 should be quorum. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. The COVID-19 pandemic continues to preclude us from meeting safely in a public forum. We must therefore continue to operate in this virtual fashion, using the public comment guidelines outlined by the Louisiana Attorney General. Here are the public comment rules that we will follow today. At the beginning of the meeting, staff will read the agenda for today's meeting in its entirety. That agenda is also online at counsel.nola.gov. We will then recess for 10 minutes to allow citizens to submit written comments for any agenda item. Anyone wishing to comment should go to the counsel.nola.gov and fill out an online public comment form. Only written public comments will be accepted. Public comment will be limited to 1 comment per person per item. Comments should also be limited to 2 minutes when read aloud and be germane to the agenda item at hand. Comments should also be limited to 2 minutes when read aloud, and be germane to the agenda at hand. Public comment will be closed at the end of the 10-minute public comment period. No written comments will be accepted beyond that point. Before voting on an agenda item, council staff will read and any public comment received for a pending agenda item. Mr. Carter, can you read the agenda in full, please?
Agenda item 1, roll call. Agenda item 2, recess to receive public comment. Agenda item 3, approval of the minutes of the August 19th, 2020. Agenda item 4, website update. Updating from the chair on the CCSRC website functions and features. Agenda item 5, renaming policy. Discussion of policy regarding criteria for choosing replacement names. Agenda item 6, stakeholder engagement update. Agenda item 7, other matters, and agenda item 8, adjournment.
Thank you. With that, we will recess for 10 minutes for public comment.
All right, 3:15, folks. 7 comments. All right, I'm ready to go.
Ready to
We have
go?
7
Okay.
comments.
All right, I'll call the meeting back to order. Since our last meeting, of course, there has been a lot of activity and individual commissioners have met with each other and partners in this endeavor to facilitate transparency and efficiency in this undertaking as usual. The remainder of the agenda will be our first quorum discussion on the listed items. Commissioners, your feedback is welcome as we progress. We'll move to agenda item number 3, approval of the minutes. Commissioners, you received a copy of the minutes from the September 19th meeting prior to this meeting. Are there any corrections or questions?
None.
If there are no corrections, the minutes are approved and as distributed, and we will move on to item number 4.
Hey, Carl, we have to do a vote on that.
You do need to vote. Okay.
I move to.
Can't be by acclamation. Okay. All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Raymond. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Raymond, second by Commissioner Sturpko. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Thank you, Andrew. Item 4, the website update. This is an update, from the Spears Group. So phase 1 of the website went live, as you know, on August 5th. Ellie Schmidt of the Spears Group reports that they are still working on building out the full site this week with full intention of meeting our goal of sharing a draft ahead of schedule. Well, actually ahead of more than our goal, but they anticipate sharing a draft of the full website with us ahead of schedule by this Friday or early next week at the latest. The list of streets and write-ups from the library that we discussed last meeting will be used for the map page and will be supplemented by updates from Sue Mobley and Thomas Adams' teams. We are still on track to receive the draft of the full website by September 11th and provide recommendations for streets, parks, and public places replacement names for inclusion on the site by September 16th, with final edits by September 17th. Our goal for public launch remains September the 19th. If anything changes, of course, we may wind up having to postpone it the launch a little bit, but we will work hard to stay on schedule. To date, we have had 23 public comment forms submitted through the website. We expect that that number to grow exponentially once the full site is launched and a public announcement is made. I've been made aware that list of suggested replacement names are going to be coming to the group from the Louis A. Martinet Legal Society, which is the National Bar Association chapter here in New Orleans, and also the Louisiana Civil Rights Museum Advisory Board. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments on the website update?
No.
Hearing none. Andrew, do you have public comment?
No public comment on this one.
Okay, great. So again, to the members of the public who are listening, that URL for the website is www.nolacccsrc.org. Please feel free to use that site and communicate with this commission. With that, we'll move on to item number 5, the renaming policy. Discussion of the policy regarding the criteria for choosing replacement names. Andrew, can you please display that policy?
Yeah, we're going to get that displayed right now.
Perfect, thank you. So while they do that, I just want to say that I crafted this policy to include elements from discussions with commissioners, the team of experts that are working with us, and the public comments around who or what is deserving of honor in public spaces in New Orleans that we have seen to date. Thank you to Commissioners Hill, Raymond, Hamilton, Sturpko, and Sue Mobley for your input since we last met as a group. The policy, as you can see, it's now up, is fairly straightforward and should guide us as we move forward to some consensus about the recommendations that we give to the council on the names for the streets. Commissioners, if you would like, I know that I sent it to you all ahead of time, but if you'd like, I can read through it quickly, or we can move to discussion of it if you all have any discussion. What's your pleasure? So,
whichever you prefer, Commissioner Connor. I had the chance to read it already.
yes, and again, I think it's fairly straightforward. I'll quickly just read it. Purpose and scope: the City Council Street Renaming Commission is responsible for studying and recommending renaming of streets, parks, and other public places that memorialize white supremacy on the landscape of the city of New Orleans. This policy clarifies the criteria for choosing recommended names of any street, park, or other public place to be considered by the New Orleans City Council. The criteria contained in this policy is substantially consistent with the goals and objectives of the New Orleans City Planning Commission's administrative rules, policies, and procedures regarding street renaming. Evaluation criteria: factors to be considered. The baseline consideration will be people, concepts, or events from the entire scope of the city's history. 2, nexus: the connection of name to streets and neighborhoods proposed. Process: council, district meetings, city planning commission, local sensitivities. We will take that into account as we look at the names. The complexity or ease of renaming streets. We'll look at that as a characteristic as well. Active inclusion: we will actively try to include street names by considering rather the following factors: race, ethnicity, gender, historical period, profession, degree of notoriety. We will try to actively exclude, but using these factors: slave ownership, documented history of gender or racialized violence, active attempts to circumvent democratic rights of citizens, profiting at the public expense. Anyone who's honoring could give reasonable people a suspicion that they are being honored for specific political considerations of the commission or council, i.e. a relative, friend, associate of a potential campaign donor or key endorser, will also be a factor we would look at. And then there'll be, there's a catch-all category of other considerations for things that we may not have specifically discussed to date, but are relevant to our decision-making. One of the things that I think actually also falls under that category is our previous conversation that we had about contextualization of some sites that we wouldn't remove, but would encourage the city council to put some context to those monuments, names, or parks. Now, is there any discussion from the council, commissioners, rather?
No.
Hearing none, is there any public comment, Andrew?
Yeah, we have 7 public comments on this.
Okay, if you would read, thank you.
First public comment is from Jennifer Johnson, not a paid representative. I think there should be a street named after Marie Laveau. She was an amazing woman who helped the community. Thousands visit her tomb every year. Thank you. Next comment is from Christopher Wilkie, not a paid representative. I've been a resident in New Orleans all but a few of my 50 years. I've always enjoyed living in an old city with a history. I was saddened when the statues were removed, and I will be saddened as names of streets and parks are changed. I beg this body to judge the people whose names you wish to erase from our city landscape, both as imperfect humans and by the standards of their day. If you do not, I fear very few names from history are safe, and by the time this cleansing is complete, we will not recognize our city. Thank you. Next comment is by Richard Macaluso, not a paid representative. I would like to nominate my father, Colonel Joseph Macaluso, as a possible candidate for a renamed street in New Orleans. He was a lifelong resident of NOLA and one of 7 children of immigrant parents. He attended Lafayette Primary School, High School of Commerce, 1938, later S.J. Peters, and LSU 43. He entered the Army from LSU ROTC and was assigned to the 83rd Infantry Division, a highly decorated unit in World War II. He was highly decorated with Silver Star, Bronze Star with clusters, and Purple Hearts. He led a rifle company, which was the first U.S. unit to cross the Elbe River and was in striking distance of Berlin. He was commander of Camp Leroy Johnson at the lakefront for years and retired in 1974. He has numerous honors and awards, too numerous to write here. He was very respected by his men and fellow officers for his bravery and integrity. He would be a fine representative for a street naming. Unfortunately, most of those who knew him and served are now deceased. Jonathan Chapman, not a paid representative. I'm commenting as a Lakeview resident in full support of renaming any street named after Confederate generals and supporters. I hope the commission will solicit ideas for new names from educators and cultural leaders in our area, and that those names be generally New Orleans natives who contributed to the good history of New Orleans and not the wounds in our history we still seek to mend. I further hope that this small gesture of renaming our streets signals our desire to build a more diverse and accepting neighborhood. We are truly stronger together. The next comment is by Lynette Betch, not a paid representative. I would like to suggest renaming a street for General Honore since he helped New Orleans during Katrina. In addition, a street be named for Fats Domino. Next comment is by Laura Ferrara, not a paid representative. I suggest you rename a street for Sidney Lanny Goldsmith, the only white member of the Core Four, who along with his friends Rudy Lombard, Aretha Castle-Haley, and Cecil Carter, staged the McCrory Drugstore lunch counter sit-in on Canal Street. Thank you. Next comment is by Nancy Little, not a paid representative. I would like for Robert E. Lee Boulevard to be renamed, not to be renamed, but if it is, Lake Area Boulevard, representing the fact it is parallel and running past Lakeview, Lakeshore, Lake Vista, and Lake Terrace, also parallel to Lakeshore Drive. I would also like to recommend that there is a direct link to this webpage for comments going forward to nextdoor.com for comments with ample time for people to respond. Other than Fox 8 News today, I did not hear about this forum. And that's all the public comments on this item.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, if you don't have any statements after hearing the public comments, I will entertain a motion to accept this policy or adopt this policy.
So moved.
Second.
Is it moved and properly second that we accept this policy for choosing names for the renaming process? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Policy is adopted. Thank you all very much for your hard work on that. We're going to move to item 6, stakeholder engagement update. Excuse me. Since our last meeting, Commissioners Hill, Raymond, Hamilton, and I have had discussions regarding use of social media in our mission. I turn to Commissioner Hill for a brief update and group discussion on this topic.
Thank you, Commissioner Connor. We did have a very robust conversation about this, and we were all in agreement that we did want to maximize public engagement and get our input via polling, education links, and streamed content, and that we would collaborate with Ellie Schmidt from the Spirits Group to disseminate commission messages through existing channels and on the website. That is how we intend to do that. We also wanted to direct through those mediums. We wanted to utilize social media through existing accounts rather than creating any new accounts. And we were all in agreement with those recommendations.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Hill. Commissioners, do you all have any other comments or questions about what Commissioner Hill just stated? Okay, well, we previously discussed other activities to further our educational goals. And when the full website is up, of course, we will post links to scholarly articles and videos. And we will also include polls as Commissioner Hill stated, to get additional public input. And if possible, we still intend to try to host at least one panel discussion on the website. Commissioner Westmoreland and I have been working on drafts of op-ed articles. By our next meeting, we should have by our next meeting, we should also have a solidified schedule for appearances on radio and scheduled talks with key community stakeholders. Commissioner Hill has worked on getting us better organized for the community group outreach, and we will continue that quest. I ask that each commissioner speak to the council person who appointed them, seeking that district's stakeholders who have reached out to engage them on this process already. Please report those names and contacts back to me and to Commissioner Hill, if possible, by Monday, September 7th, so we can discuss that and then schedule the outreach accordingly. Commissioners Raymond and Westmoreland will previously agree to assist in setting up media appearances at the appropriate time. If you're still on board to do that, I'd like you all to please send me a list of your suggested appearances by Wednesday, September 9th, so we can plan those engagements as well. And I'd like to get the list. If it can get it before then, that would be great, because I really would like to circulate it among the commissioners so we can make sure that everybody is included in the decisions about where we go and how we put our message forward when the time is right. Commissioner Hill, is there anything else you wanted to say about your efforts so far?
Yes, just to reiterate something that I spoke to either the last meeting or the meeting before, just looking for any and all resources to potentially build a big database, so we have all kind of ways to reach out to people. I did speak with Timolyn Sams, who's the former executive director of the Neighborhood Partnership Network, to see if she still had a database for that now defunct organization. She has a very robust database that was very inclusive of neighborhood organizations, neighborhood associations, other not-for-profit organizations who were and are involved in the city's ongoing redevelopment. And however, that list was last updated in 2017, but there are still probably a lot of contacts on that list that would be viable. I've reached out to the mayor's Office of Neighborhood Engagement and hope to work with them and see what kind of resources they have available in terms of a database, and then further explore ways that we can reach out to people and organizations within the entire community.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Hill. It's all going to be very important, because once we launch the full website and start getting that feedback, and also have the list from our panel of experts and historians, obviously the time frame will start to speed up on us. So our need to get to those groups and have meaningful discussions prior to our recommendations to the council is really important. So I appreciate your assistance trying to get us in a better place to do that fairly quickly. Commissioners, do you all have any comments on that? If not, Andrew, did you have any public comment on this?
Nope, there's no public comment.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Then we'll move on to item 7, other matters. Sue and or Thomas, do either of you have any updates for the group?
I spoke with Sue earlier. I think that they're just focused on getting the narratives finalized, and so they nothing beyond. They are working hard and are planning on meeting the deadlines that have been set.
Perfect. Thank you. I thought I saw Thomas on a second ago. He must have dropped off. So, and I've had many conversations with them over the last 2 weeks as well. They are working very hard trying to meet the deadline. I have always been clear that it is sometimes hardest to be complete in a succinct amount of words, and they are doing a yeoman's job trying to get these narratives to the 250, 300 word category so that they are digestible. as we disseminate that information out to the public. So I appreciate their help and all the work that they're putting in right now. Commissioners, do you all have any other matters to discuss?
Today.
Not today.
That's
Okay.
exactly what I said, not today.
Perfect, perfect. All right, well, that being the case, if there's no further business, we have concluded our agenda and I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.